I had my cornea stem cell transplant. They did a cataract surgery. So I had those two things both done on my right eye. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is JessConstantino, and if you're new to my channel, I'd please ask that you subscribe. It really means a lot to me and it helps out my channel a lot. And hit that notification bell so you can get all the updates. And if you aren't new here and you've been here before, I just like to say welcome back and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the views and all the support. It means so much to me. How much my channel has been growing the last few weeks is just incredible. I'm so thankful and so blessed, and I appreciate it so much, you guys. Commenting is also really important. I really hope that everybody can continue the conversation in the comments, because that's really a great place to come together as a community as well. So if you have any questions, or you just want to add anything, or you want to see another topic be discussed, or you have an idea for another video, like, go ahead and leave a comment and let me know, and I will work on that, and I will do everything I can to see it come to fruition. Anyway, let's get into today's video. Today I want to talk about the surgeries that I have had, and I'm not going to just talk about the surgeries that I have had, like injury surgeries or my C-sections or anything like that. I'm only going to be discussing the surgeries that I had as that are related to my vision. So all of my surgeries from the time I was a baby to my current age, I will be discussing. The first surgery I want to talk about is the exploratory surgery that was done on me when I was a baby. The only reason I'm including it is because I'm a mom, and I actually had to watch my son go through his exploratory surgery when he was a baby, and it was just very scary, and it's so hard to like know that your child is going to be put to sleep and taken away from you, and you have to wait for news on how they're doing and if they are okay. And it's just such a terrifying thing for a parent, and especially a new parent. So I just want to include it because it must have been really hard for my parents, because I know it was really hard for me, really stressful for me. I don't know if any other parents really found it to be stressful just to, you know, have an exploratory surgery. I definitely found it, as a parent, I found it stressful. But yeah, I had an exploratory surgery. I'm not sure how old I was, but a couple months. And they just were looking at my eye to see how well it developed because of the anorexia. So I had an exploratory surgery, and then I didn't have another surgery until I was 7. And the exploratory surgery, they didn't do any, like, they didn't cut me open or anything. They were just looking with microscopes and things like that. So there was no actual like knives or any like penetration of anything, other than probably putting me to sleep so they could pry my eyes open and look at them. That was my exploratory surgery. And then when I was 7, I had my first glaucoma surgery. And my first glaucoma surgery, they did to just clean out the tubes. So for my disease, I have anorexia, and essentially the whole front of my eye didn't develop properly. So part of that is the tubes that drain the fluid, and because of the way that my eye developed, and I didn't grow an iris the way that you are supposed to grow an iris. It's supposed to like come out and bloom like a flower, and mine just grew back like a root. And because of the way it developed improperly, it caused the ducts that the fluid drained through, it caused the ducts to not function properly, and I think to be smaller than they should have been or something. I'm not sure. But whatever be the case, when I was 7, they decided to go in and clean the ducts out. My mom said it was like a roto-rooter. I don't know if you know what that means, but it just essentially, they went in and cleaned out the tubes. And that was what happened to my left eye when I was 7. And then when I was 10, again, I had another glaucoma surgery on my left eye. What they did was they put what they called the bleb in, and it was basically like a trap door so that the fluid, when it built up too much pressure, it could open and release that fluid into the back of my eye. So instead of like, it was just like building up and building up and building up. And then that trap door was like a little flap that would open on the top of my eye and allow the fluid to escape. so that it didn't build up. It flattens out your optic nerve, so you can't see, you go blind, because your optic nerve is no longer shaped the way it's supposed to be shaped. So that was the surgery I had on my left eye when I was 10. I had a surgery when I was 13. It was a cataract surgery on my left eye, and they just went in and removed the cataract. That was pretty much the last surgery that I had until I think I was 25. When I was 25, so I was pretty stable. My eyesight was pretty stable from the time I was 13 to 25. However, at that time, I mean, where my eyesight was stable, I was also losing vision. I had corneal disease. I got corneal disease when I was 11, and that corneal disease really caused a lot of vision loss. But at the same time, it caused a lot of pain. So in a way, I was stable, but I was also dealing with other things that were caused because of the corneal disease. I was pretty stable, like my vision was stable enough, and they were trying to maintain my vision the way that it was, so that they were trying to wait until I was old enough that they could do a corneal transplant on me and have it take and not reject, because the older you get, the better developed your eyes are, better developed everything is, and so your body retains and holds on to it more, rather than when you're a kid, your body is kind of getting rid of a lot of things. And so when foreign objects come into it, it tends to like reject them and like throw them out. And when you get older, that system kind of slows down a little bit. Your immune system kind of settles out. I was fairly stable until I was 25. I was losing vision, but I was stable at the same time. During that time, I also had a guide dog, but I didn't require a surgery until I was 25. So my first surgery when I was 25 is I had my first eye surgery on my right eye, and they did a cornea stem cell transplant. They made me take immunosuppressants and anti-rejection medicines. My body reacted very, very negatively to the medicine. My body hated the medication. I couldn't keep it down. I couldn't keep food down. I was throwing up all the time. And it was really hard on my body. It also raised my triglycerides, and I gained a lot of weight. I don't know if I would say like I was borderline, but maybe I was like borderline diabetic perhaps. And it was just really bad on my body. So they had to stop the medications because they were just too harsh for my body, for my system. But they did that after 3 years. First, I had my cornea stem cell transplant. They did a cataract surgery. So I had those two things both done on my right eye. Suddenly they noticed that my left eye wasn't as stable anymore. It was starting to deteriorate more. So they sent me to Fresno at the time to have me do a glaucoma surgery on my left eye. They put a shunt in my left eye to help with the glaucoma. So once again, it was a glaucoma surgery on my left eye. And then shortly after that, they wanted to do, what was called a corneal scraping on my left eye. And essentially what it was is they just took this sharp object and like scraped off the cloud that was on my corneal surface. That way they were hoping that the surface would stay clear and I would be able to see out of it more instead of like looking out of a cloud. And by the way, I didn't really include this on everything, but the corneal scraping, I remember being in intense pain afterwards. Like, it was extremely painful. That corneal scraping it's essentially them scraping the front part of your eye, and it was really painful. I think I blocked a lot of this part out because I was in so much pain. I had so much going on with the surgeries. With my right eye having the stem cell transplant, and then with my left eye kind of freaking out, and I have to have glaucoma surgery, and then they had to do the corneal scraping. Shortly after that, they did the corneal stem cell transplant on my left eye. And the left eye actually, the graft on the left eye actually took better than the right one did. For some reason, the right one, it kept rejecting and rejecting and rejecting. But the left one that my doctor locally had done, it seemed to be a lot better. I had the corneal stem cell transplant when I was 25 also in my left eye, so both in my right and left eye. But there was different surgeries that were surrounding both of those eyes. And then after that, I was stable again for a couple years, and then like I said, the medication was really harsh on my body. And so after 3 years, they decided to take me off of that medication. And when they did, my cornea, especially in my right eye, started to reject. And when my cornea started to reject in my right eye, this fluffing of the cornea like started happening again. And so basically the tissue layers of my cornea were coming off. When I was 29, I had a cornea transplant on my right eye, and they just replaced my whole cornea in hopes that that would help rather than just like try to fix the surface of it. So they replaced the whole cornea. Like a year later, my son pointed to something, and I looked over to see what he was pointing at, and his finger went into my eye, and it bursted my brand new cornea, essentially. And so I had to be rushed in, and they had to do a corneal repair on my right eye. And they did that, I think, when I was 30. They did the corneal repair, and the doctor said that the cornea was so thin from being broken, it was like sewing tissue paper back together. And he said it couldn't happen again, and if it happened again, I would go blind, and it would be lights out, game over. We panicked. I panicked, and I went to UCLA, and they did an artificial cornea transplant. And the artificial cornea transplant basically is they took out my cornea, they put in a plastic cornea, and then they put a titanium ring around the plastic so that it held it in place. That is what the situation is with my right eye. And when they did the artificial cornea transplant, they also put a glaucoma shunt in my right eye so that the fluid could drain, because with the corneal transplant, you can't always tell, and it's harder for the fluid to drain, so they needed to put a shunt. So I have a shunt in my left eye, which I had several years before, and then I got a shunt put in my right eye when I had the artificial cornea transplant done. Pretty much the bulk of my surgeries. In fact, I think that was all of my surgeries that I have had. My artificial cornea transplant has been holding up really well. It gave me back, on a good day, I can see about 2150. You can see at 150 feet, I can only see to 20 feet. So like your vision at 150 feet is what mine is at 20 feet, I think is how that works. I will have to do more research on that. And do a little more research on what I can see, because I want to make a video about what I can see exactly and like give you guys more detail of exactly what my vision is like. But I think in order to do it properly, I think I'm going to need a little more research on how my eye has developed and what is actually developed wrong in it. Because I have some like basic knowledge, but when I was making this video, I realized there's a lot to it that I don't really necessarily know. So those are my main surgeries. Anyway, that's pretty much all of my surgeries and all my procedures that I have had that have been with my eyes. I know it's a lot. That's why when I go to doctor's offices and they ask me to fill out medical history forms, I'm like, oh gosh, like there's so much to fill out with my medical history, medicines, mostly eye medicines, and my surgeries. It's a long form. I like need to start just bringing like a typed version of all of my stuff and my medical history and just being like, here you go, whenever a doctor wants me to fill something out, because it's a lot. So anyway, that is all of my surgeries, and that's everything that I wanted to talk about for today. So I will end it here. I just want to say thank you so much again for everybody watching. I really appreciate it. And thank you for subscribing to my channel. It means the world to me. I love that my family on YouTube is growing so big. It's great. Just don't forget to like. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up. And if you want to continue the conversation in the comments, that would be great. And don't forget to share it if you think somebody else might find this information relevant or pertinent. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit your little notification bell so you get all the updates. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.